Hi, so today I wanted to talk about President Reagan and something called Reaganomics. So basically, we'll talk a little bit about the changing um, aspects of the economy during his presidency. And it is actually a quite important thing because the things he started are continuing till today. And the disproportions that started during his time in the office were most detrimental for the common people like you and me, and were very, very beneficial for the richest Americans. So he came to power in 1981 and left the office in 1989. So he was a president for around 10 years, 2 cadences. If we look at the stock market during that time, which kinda can be a good way to measure the economic growth during his time. Of course, the stock market in the short term can be not efficient, but if you look at 10 years, then I think it's a good indicator to the state of the economy after each president. If you look on the video, you can see that the blue line representing Ronald Reagan is the highest among the compared presidents. Only Barack Obama finished with same score. The stock market rose 150% during the cadences of both of those presidents, for Obama and Reagan. If you look at Trump, that's 50% during one 5-year period, and George Bush had a minus score of around minus 25%. But of course, that's not, the stock market is not like a great indicator, but we can see that the biggest companies in here is the Dow Jones index. So top 30 companies grew in value 150% during his presidency. So what happened that let the biggest companies grow so much, and what privileges did he give to the richest Americans, and what was the reasoning behind it? So he decided that if he lowers the taxes to the richest people in the country, they will take this money and give it away to the workers. Of course, that didn't happen. I don't know why did he expect that, but okay. I think the role of the state is to collect money and redistribute it evenly where it's needed. And if you just give more money to the rich, well, if somebody is not charitable, if they are not giving the money away, if you give them more money, nothing will change, If you are an asshole and you are poor, then when you are rich, you are still an asshole. Most probably, of course, not always, because the lack of money is also a root of many problems. Like, for instance, if you are stealing to buy food, then if we give you money, then you won't be a thief anymore, etc. So he lowered the taxes from 70% to 28%. So that's 42 percentage points. But if you look at how much money is left for those people, so before, if they earned $100, they will pay $70 in taxes and will be left with $30. Now they will pay 28% in taxes, so $28, and they will have $72 left for themselves instead of $30 previously. So if you look at the increase in the earnings of the richest people, it's actually a 140% increase. So it's nearly 2.5 what it was previously. So that's a huge increase. And of course, that didn't trickle down to the poorer people, as he said. But that's not the only weird thing that Reagan did. But let's look at the growth. You can look at the video in here. The growth during his candidacy was quite nice, but it was expected by the macroeconomist to be this way, even without his weird trickle-down economics, because of the economic cycles. I wanted to also cover that the big wealth gap between the poor and the rich in USA really started around the time when he got the office. So he kind of started this problem, and if we look historically at it, it sometimes ends with a revolution. So we'll see if the growing disproportions in the USA will lead to violence, or maybe they will deal with it. Now the taxation went back to the previous levels, so I think the richest people from USA are paying back. I think it's 72% right now on the profits, so it went back, but the differences between the poor and rich are still growing, and that's just the nature of the capital market. When you work and earn an hourly wage, then you are limited to how much time you have and how much time you can earn by how much money you can earn by changing your time to money. But when you use capital, you can grow it into infinity. It doesn't matter if you have 10 million or 100 million. If you invest it in the stocks, you do the same type of analysis. Of course, there are differences. If you have like 100 billion, it becomes difficult to find such big companies that you can invest in, but still you can grow your money. You know, if you have 1,000, you can get that 10% every year. If you have 1,000,000, you can get that 10% every year. And if you have 1 billion, you can also get that 10% every year. And because of compounding interest, when you are an investor, when you use capital, it speeds up. So at the beginning it goes slower, and after 10 years it speeds up and grows exponentially. So it's a little bit normal to see that the rich that use the form of investing and capital management to make money are going far away from the typical people that just work for money and spend time at their job. But of course, this cannot continue indefinitely. The government has to step in and redistribute the wealth. And the raising taxes, depending on how much you earn, is the best way we currently have to do that. So this man kinda did the opposite. There is also one more thing I wanted to talk about, because there were also some scandals connected to him. I just wanted to talk about him funding the Contras. So the Contras was a militant group that was fighting communists. So Reagan didn't like them, so he supported the Contras by giving them 18 million worth of military support, while he disguised it as some treaty with Iran. So basically he wasn't allowed to, of course, transfer that money to some Contras, some militants that were funded by cocaine trade, but he still did. He covered it up under the deal with Iran at the time. It was in 1986, and a man called Al-Shira reports the arms deal. You can read more about that if you want. So, summing up, what was the main thing Reagan did? Reagan said that if you give more power to the rich, then the rich will give their money away to the workers, to the poor people. Didn't happen. And yeah, that's the main thing. Okay. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next future episodes. Thank you very much. Bye bye.